Hi guys, and welcome to episode 7 of the 72 review. I'm joined, as always, with the co-presenters, Ian Bradley and Jake, who's Punk Chef 41. We'll start with Ian, and let everybody watching know who you are and what you're about if they're new to the channel.
Hello. I'm Ian Bradley. I'm a 60-year-old Rotherham season ticket holder, but football fan in general. I do the odd video vlog for Over the Bar YouTube channel, which is sort of a bit of fun. But yeah, Millers fan and football fan in general.
Lovely stuff. And then below me, we've got Punk Chef 41. Let everybody know who you are and what you do, mate.
I'm Punk Chef 41. I do a YouTube channel on Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, and things are going really great at the moment. And I also do a podcast called Talking Wednesday podcast, which has also got some Wednesday bits and pieces, just the name.
It's decent stuff. So please, if you haven't already, please go to Jake and Over the Bar and subscribe to those. Get them some support going. If you haven't already subscribed to me, please do. We're on the way to 3,000 subs, which is fantastic. Never thought I'd get anywhere near that. So thank you for the support. Just before we came live, my internet decided to have a bit of a dicky fit. So hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we go through the full stream without any further hiccups. But obviously, it's a reduced fixture, so we're going to cover League One and League Two. As always, get your comments in, and we'll try and go through as many as we can throughout the show. We've already got one in from Ryan Elliott. Thoughts on Keane Johnson and Rosington Main as a football club? Don't really have any thoughts on Rosington Main as a football club. Obviously, it's try and support your local team. Lower league football, grassroots will need our support over the tough times coming towards us. ATID as well. Cry tears of joy at full time. Need I say more? So we will get on to Plymouth against Ipswich shortly. But I think a good place to start. Obviously, Ian's the championship correspondent. No championship due to the international break, but you want to say a few words because there's big news coming out of Rotherham United with Paul Warne exiting for Derby. So take a couple of minutes, tell us your thoughts on that and what expectations are for recruiting a new manager. Are you wanting something similar to Warney so that stability continues, or do you think it's going to be something totally different? So the floor's all yours, mate.
Thank you. My initial thoughts when I saw on Twitter and one or two more social media outlets that it was close, I was really astonished. I didn't think he'd ever leave us for anybody other than the club he actually supports, Norwich City. But when I come down to think about it, and it was actually announced that he'd left, it made more and more sense. I mean, what he's done for Rotherham United has been nothing short of astonishing with the playing budget he's had and the players he's developed. He's done a fantastic job over a 6-year period. Obviously, heartbroken to see him go, but he deserves a crack at a bigger club with a bigger budget, a better fan base, and more potential. It goes with my best wishes and thanks for what he's done for us. He definitely deserves a crack at a bigger club. That's better. As for his replacement, well, the jury's really out because I've seen the betting. I've seen people like Mark Bonner, who would be my preferred choice, who's the Cambridge United manager. I've seen Dean Holden, who he seems to be the favourite. Doesn't fill me with too much encouragement. One or two more. Obviously, some of the Millers fans that aren't really in the real world have come round and said, go and get Sean Dyche or somebody like that. Absolutely no chance of that happening because of our budgeting structure. Richard Wood has taken over with Lee Peltier taking training. Now, Richard Wood, who is a club legend as a player, he has also got his FA coaching badges, may well be the cheap option. He's had no managerial experience, but he knows the club and he knows the playing staff inside and out. I don't think that will happen. Knowing our chairman, he'll want somebody with a little bit more experience. But
Speaking
adding him
from
to the coaching
experience, Ian,
staff,
sorry to interrupt.
true.
Speaking from experience, when Andy Butler took over, it's not always the best path to go down. Unfortunately, I think it's a massive job to take on as a first one, isn't it? I think you need to ply your trade at lower levels before taking a job on in the second tier of
To be
English
fair,
football.
though, Paul Warren's first coaching manager job was Rotherham.
Yeah.
If they're going to go down that route.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, true. So it may have some legs, mate, having him coming.
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, he'd get the support of the fans without a doubt. But the chairman, who is his own man, and he rules the club with a rod of iron, which isn't a bad thing, really, by the way. He'll have his own choices. He does say he's going to be interviewing Tuesday or Wednesday of this week in place for the Wigan Athletic game next Saturday. Remains to be seen. It'd be very, very interesting. But I don't know. I just absolutely don't know. Mark Bonner would be my preferred option, but who knows?
The thing is, you can advertise the club quite well with where they sit in the league. We're a championship club. We want to stay here. The problem you've got, and it's the biggest problem, is it's how much money they've got to spend on a shoestring ticket. How much are they willing to spend? How much have you got to use the academy? Because Warren have been very good at using the academy to get players through. And then you've got the bit, if you get someone in like a Richard Wood then go get his own contact. Well, he's not going to go to Paul Warren because Paul Warren's going to want to be doing the stuff at Derby, and Derby are going to want to go up. Richard Wood would have to go get his contacts or try and build his contact. The issue is with going, I hate to say it, cheap as such, is that it doesn't bring in what you need. You need someone who can be there. Like, Dean Holford's been named banded around, had an okay spell managing, but that was it, one, and then he did the caretaker role at Stoke. The problem is there's no manager out there that can go, you can kind of thing. And this is another situation. It sounds really bad, but when Donny had gone to managers or something, you're having to sell the club, but then you're having to sell the town. Donny and Rotherham are very hard to sell. It's not glitz and glamour.
The wonderful places, Jake. I don't know what you're on about.
You know what I mean?
No, it is. I think it is easier to sell a club maybe down south, closer to London, something like that, or a bigger city like in and around the Manchester area. But yeah, kind of working class towns like Doncaster and Rotherham are a bit tougher sell for people. But I think, like you touched upon, I think Rotherham are in a really good position to kind of hopefully get somebody decent in because of the position that you're in the table. Fantastic start, which somebody will want to come in and build upon and be that person to keep Rotherham in the Championship for the first time in 3 times in asking, is it? Yeah, you've been up and down six times.
I think the last time we stayed up, I think it was 15-16, and that was when we had another manager who might be available, Mr. Warnock. Kept us up that year when we looked dead and buried in February, and we went on an 11-game winning streak and stayed up.
Imagine Warnock coming back out of retirement. It'd be brilliant.
It'd be fantastic. It'd be fantastic.
Why for killing?
I think she would.
But we mentioned about kind of going internal and seen as the cheap option. ATID said that sometimes it is decent. Look at Shuey Argyle. Yeah, sometimes it's a gamble, isn't it?
But there's a difference. Shuey is a coach. He was in the coaching staff. You're going from player to coach. That's the difference. When you go from player to coach, it's a big jump because you've got people that are respecting him as a captain, but when it comes to being a manager, it's a different story. Shuey makes sense because he was already working behind the scenes with what everything was doing. As a player, you're only concentrating on what's going on with the playing side. You're not going on with the management side or the coaching side.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Oh, that's where the bridge for Butler was probably a bit too far because he went from player to manager. So, like you say, it's going from one of the lads in that core group of players to actually having to manage them and make tough decisions and have them difficult conversations with them. potentially that respect isn't there from being one at lads initially. It's tough.
And also Warren's taking his backroom staff with him. He's taking Richie Barker, Matt Hamshaw, and Andy Warrington with him to Derby. So therefore, there's no existing coaching staff in place for a new manager, an internal appointment to lean on. Yeah. I'll take your point, Jake. Yeah,
it's going to be tough. Hopefully, it's sorted sooner rather than later, and you can continue your decent start to the season. A couple of comments before we get on to League One, though. We've got Ryan Elliott. Will Doncaster City be bigger than Rovers one day? I hope not, but I wish them all the best in their journey. Newly started team, newly formed team, trying to claim that the city is blue. I think there's a long way to go. When they get around Rosington and Armfort Welfare's level, then I think people will start to take notice a little bit more. But yeah, some of the plans that they're putting in place look really good. The training facility looks fantastic. And they've also applied to go into the Scottish Cup, which was bizarre.
Remember that.
We've got Max Tiger HD. Big up Dan, good 4-1 win for Rovers. Yeah, we will get onto that shortly. Doing decent at the minute of the season, so good luck for the rest of it. Can't wait for next Friday, and then he can start to vlog the Hull games once again. And then we've got Lewis Forster. All right, lads. All right, guys. Good evening. So, yeah, keep your comments coming in. But for now, we will move on to League One and starting with Sheffield Wednesday's 3-1 victory to Wickham. Jake, tell us all about it, mate.
So, this started off very, very fast and very unlike Wickham. When I spoke to Ian when saying, are they like Wickham of old? And he said, not really. They're really not. This is a team that need completely regutting, rebuilding, which is what they are doing. But great cross by Marvin Johnson. Jacobson puts it in his own net, but if he doesn't do it, Michael Smith is on that back post waiting to get the goal because thing. But the annoying thing about this was what the word I could use? The way we defended for their
equaliser.
The equaliser, yeah. The equaliser was just really very good, skillful player. Don't get me wrong, really skillful, got it past. But James jumps in too much, and then when they go to take the shot, there's no one. Sam Vokes is a good striker. Why you're not marking? I don't know. Could we marking zone or base? We're marking base, and because we're marking base, no one gets on him. So it's a goal, 1-1. But we come into it again, and the nice thing about this game is that we were quick. You notice in bits of the highlight, it was snappy, one-touch football. Someone's always on the fin. Someone's always wanting the ball. And that's what led to Barry Bannon's goal. It was a really good move by a ball to Gregory, who then knew that Smith was making the run down the wing. Smith got it in the box, and it's an easy tap in. And Barry Bannon winding the Wickham fans up, like going, can't hear you. I liked. Congratulations to him as well. Him and his partner has announced that they've got another baby on the way. So,
congratulations.
But we absolutely dominated them. They did do their kind of like trying to waste time and stuff. And at times, the referee did go to the sideline and go, come on, Pat thing, cut it up. But then the other thing is that Stockdale was doing it back to them. And there were bits of that game where you could tell the Sam Vokes especially was getting so annoyed. Like he would slam the ball on the spot. So you kicking it from here, and then he'll just go, I'll take it from here then. He was just winding them up. It was lovely to see. And Patterson got his goal, first touch of the game. It was a bit of good game management by Darren Moore as well to bring that player on at that time. Right near the end, gets his goal on his 100th appearance. But the nice thing about that was a Wilkes setup. Yeah. Wilkes was the one that provided it. And I don't think we're far away from seeing Wilkes start. But the thing is, we got a bench of started and a team of starters, which is great. The one thing that was missing from the game was the injury to Joe Byers before the game. But Will Vokes had his best game in a Wednesday shirt. Looked more confident. You know when you see a player come in who you know has low confidence at clubs, i.e. Cardiff, he looked like he got that arm around his shoulder and just enjoyed it. It was a good result for us. We were third for all of 24 hours, but it's been good though. Like I was telling the lad beforehand, like, we've got the most goal scorers from outside different areas on the pitch, and this is our best point total at this point since like 1991, 1992, where we had 26. So we're doing well. It's building to be quite
More
a
out.
little thing. Yeah.
If you listen to any social media or Radio Sheffield, more out is quite a there's quite a bit a section of the fan base that are wanting more out, and saying things like that with the quality of the squad that you've got and the start that you've had. Doesn't make sense, does it?
I got it on one of my videos that I put stats that said, "Oh, well, numbers don't mean anything though, does it?" That numbers don't mean anything. It's like, yes, it does.
It helps.
If you're losing 2-1, you lose 2-1. If you win 3-1, you win 3-1. Numbers matter in football. It's just a weird thing. It's one of those things when they come at you, you get the whole, well, these are the numbers. It's like, well, he's still rubbish. Like, but we just won 3-1.
I think every club's got a section of fan base that have different opinions. This is why we love football. Opinions, everybody's got one. I mean, we won 4-1 at the weekend, and there were people on Radio Sheffield still wanting McSheffrey out. Jury's still out. I think he's got these next couple of games to prove himself, but to come onto the radio after a 4-1 win and say it's still not good enough, get him out, I find bizarre. Just enjoy the win.
Yeah.
You've got a fan in the comments, Jake Coniston.
Thank you, mate.
Often watches you. James Netter, have you done Swindon yet? No, League 2 is coming up shortly.
Not many League 1 games because there was a lot of postponements.
Yeah, and then we've got Ewan going to Rochdale away, potentially. Not sure yet, not decided, but it is one that I've kind of penciled in as a potential away day. So I think it'll just be a Saturday morning.
Oh, you've got to go, Dan.
Yeah.
You've got to go. That chippy behind away end's incredible.
All that way for some chips.
People go to
the why not? Yeah.
The only difference is you don't get to see sunshine, you get to see a train station.
We've got Dor in the chat as well. What's going on, lads? Good evening, Dor, from the heady heights of the Premier League. Not missing Championship football at all.
What point are you on at the minute, Dor?
I think as long as they get more than Derby, he'll be happy.
I know.
Yeah.
So
let's face
we'll
it.
move on to Plymouth against Ipswich. I think, Ian, if you want to take this one, we've got ATID in the comments. You're not going to get a much better advert for lower league football than Argyle against Ipswich today. If it was half as good on TV as it was in person, then absolutely treated. Two class teams who should be up there. Would you agree with that? I didn't manage to catch any of the game today, so I'm leaving this one to you.
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, I just followed it on social media, so because I haven't got, I didn't realise that I could have got an iFollow pass, but the season could have gone one or two ways for Plymouth. Either they could have sort of really felt sorry for themselves after last year's sort of like last minute capitulation that saw them out of the playoffs, or they could regroup and go again, and it looks like that's what they've done. Fantastic fan base there at home park, really get behind the team. They've got a team that are playing the right way, and to turn over a club of Ipswich's ability and stature it's a statement result. That they've just gone to the top. Actually, in League One, saying that there's about 5 or 6 teams that are starting to pull away.
Oh,
and
I just
it
realised
looks like it could be. Yeah, go on.
Freddie Ladipo.
Yeah.
Oh, Freddie, yeah. He got a goal, didn't he? Yeah. He got a goal, and then from all accounts, lost interest and got substituted in second half. But that's Freddie all over. But yeah, Schumacher's doing a fantastic job there, and he's not one of the names that has not been in the frame for the Rotherham job. But Plymouth probably a little
Plymouth are very good,
tiny bit bigger club.
Yeah. And I also think with what happened last season, I don't think they want to go through that again. I think they want to have that stability. They've got the interesting thing when watching the game on TV today was how they were talking about how the manager and a coach with him both know the the sporting director, football director from their Everton days. They all know each other, and it's been a strong kind of
Well,
relationship.
that does help. Yeah.
So I think you've got that situation where it really does help a lot that there's that relationship there. And but the thing is, with Plymouth, when he went low, they had someone who already knew what the situation and how to buy into that. They've recruited well this summer. They look like they've got the goals now, which they didn't look like they had last season to sign. They look a lot more defensively strong. And they just didn't lie down. Ipswich were very lucky not to have 10 men, maybe 9. There were some very bad tackles in there which went away. But all in all, it's a very good result for Plymouth. And they're looking good. I'm not looking forward to playing them on a Tuesday night in October.
Yeah, that's a long old journey, isn't it?
Is that down there?
Yep. It's the game that got
God.
postponed
Yeah.
due to the thingy.
So
Yeah.
80
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
only team to beat Ipswich, unbeaten at home park with 1 goal conceded. If you have a chance to watch Whittaker's goal, it's worth watching. Outstanding stuff, and stay away from Shuey. And they said the commentary had to be muted today at some points. Disgustingly biased. You do get that sometimes down in the lower leagues. But the only bit that I managed to catch on social media was the Ipswich goalkeeper almost equalising in the dying minutes. A cracking header.
That was a cracking header.
Wonderful save.
Well, interestingly, he's a Plymouth fan and a season ticket holder when he was a kid. So it was interesting. That would have been interesting to see what would have happened if that had happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Would he have celebrated? We'll never know. But yeah, cracking result for Plymouth.
Your goalkeeper,
I'm sure
just
he was.
got on the 90th. I think he's celebrating.
So all the other results are currently going across the bottom of the screen. Is there any particular games that you want to go to next?
Barnsley are looking very good. They're starting to buy into what Duff is trying to do. And once they get going, they are very hard to beat. Like all the goals were very good. I thought James Norwood's little flick was superb. You've got James Norwood and Devante Cole seem like a partnership made in heaven. They just link up so well. And the other thing that you've got going forward is that they just know how to grind the result out, but they didn't grind this out. They're good at home. Charlton look in trouble again. Charlton's done this thing again where they look good for a little bit under a manager, and then it's gone again. Now I'm starting to wonder if that's a club and player thing, that there's some bad apples in that dressing room, because this is like a new manager every other season.
Yeah.
And there's some players that haven't left there in a while. And I'm wondering if they're just too happy and stable where they are. They don't look great at the minute, Charlton. I worry for them. I worry that they could get relegated this season.
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? There is a klaxon for Devante Cole, though. There it is. I can't believe how many goals he scored for Barnsley. It was shocking at Donny. Couldn't hit a barn door from 5 yards. But yeah, I think we've said it before on previous streams that certain players and certain managers just find clubs that they fit into and style of play that they fit into. And I think Devante Cole has found that club. So it's always nice to see kind of old players doing well when they've moved on, but just not when we play them. That's where you don't want them to do well. Ian,
also,
is there any...
I've got. Sorry, there is. Sorry, Dan. Didn't want to talk over you. There's a couple of teams that really look concerning, and that is Forest Green and Morecambe. They'll both starting to look out of the depth. I mean, Morecambe, another damaging home defeat against quite a good Cambridge United side, coming back from behind. But Forest Green just got absolutely taken apart by Exeter, and I think they've had 2 wins so far, but they're not just get the defeats aren't close. They seem to be getting hammered.
They're the whipping boys.
To me, I mean, I know it's only, to me, those two, Morecambe and Forest Green, look like 2 of the bottom 4 already, and it's only sort of like mid to late September. But I could be wrong.
lost 5 of
yeah,
their 6
I'm
home
starting
games.
to have concerns.
I'm also having a little bit
Yeah.
concerned with Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
They're starting to have a little bit of a fall again. There's something not right. I spoke to Charlie. Charlie said something feels off. And the problem is, I don't know if this is just a Joey Barton kind of thing. Very good at getting teams out of League Two. Get to League One, struggles a little bit. I don't know, because you do get those managers who can do the step-ups really well to the next league. But Steve Evans is a good example nowadays. He's good at getting them out, but when it gets to getting them out of the next division, he's not got that kind of way of doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, struggled a little bit.
I'd agree
Doing
with
a
Bristol
fantastic
Rovers
job at
kind of
Stevenage,
struggling,
you've
but
got to take
are we being a little bit harsh with them because of the injury crisis that they've got?
Yeah,
I
they've
don't
got
think,
a lot of injuries, haven't they?
yeah, but they do look a shadow of the team that did so well in League Two last year, and I think, like you say, could that be from a managerial point of view that it's just not got the ability to step up that next step? I mean, Accrington Stanley, we say it time and time again. They're one of those teams in League One that you look at and you're wanting to say on paper that should be a win, but they're just such a difficult team to play against, and they do it so well at League One level.
Yeah, they're an archetypal League One outfit, aren't they? Tough in the tackle, committed, difficult to beat. I mean, we had 2 games with them last season. We beat them 1-0 at New York Stadium, but we were very, very lucky to get away with that because Pell missed a penalty in the last minute. And at the Crown Ground, they wiped the floor with us, easily beat us. So, yeah, you know you're in for a game when you play Aki, unfortunately.
The thing is, Accrington Stanley know what they are and know who they are. Their biggest thing is always going to be what they do after Coleman.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it? ATID, kind of echoing what we said about Forest Green versus Exeter. It was the ultimate advert for National League South. It was an awful watch. I think Forest Green, like you say, they just look really poor at the minute. Also a mention on Charlton, they beat Plymouth 5-1, but he just doesn't know how. Lizzie is late to the party, but she is here. Good evening, Lizzie. And then ATID, Joey Barton deserves every single bit of bad luck he gets. Wife beats her.
Allegedly. Because
yes.
it never actually came out. Just for coming over the play.
And for me, I think we've gone we're worrying about Forest Green, Morecambe, Bristol Rovers. I think we've got to mention Burton as well as a bit of a worry down at the bottom of the league. It's starting to kind of come together a little bit with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank leaving, Dino Marmaria taking over. But
they smashed up midweek in the Pizza Cup. We had pretty much a full strength squad.
Yeah, so they're starting to kind of find a style of play and a bit of a rhythm, but it just wasn't enough on Saturday, going 1-0 down, bringing it back to 1-1, and then Ryan Bowman winning the points for Shrewsbury. And Lizzie is in agreement with us. I think that's your bottom 4. Yeah. Burton, Morecambe, Forest Green, Bristol Rovers as it stands now. Would you agree with that, lads?
Bristol Rovers may get out of it if the injury comes good, but if they come good.
Yeah. What about you, Ian?
Yeah, I'd agree.
They're back-ended going.
I mean, there's a sneaking feeling that just... Go on, Jake.
The back end of their season last season was all due to the loan of Anderson. He changed it for them. So they did not really manage to replace him properly. We're never going to. But go on, Ian, what were you going to say?
No, I don't know. I don't think all is not lost for Burton because they have picked up a little bit, a couple of good results. Obviously, one of them meaning the Pizza Cup. But I think they were a little bit unlucky at Shrewsbury. I think they had just as many chances as Shrewsbury did, and they just got beat on the odd goal. So, yeah, I think there is a cause for optimism there. It depends on the next few weeks, obviously, because if they get cut adrift down there, it might be too difficult for them to get back up.
Yeah.
And the only game that we've not touched on in League One over the weekend is Peterborough 3, Port Vale 0. Johnson Clark Harris.
he shouldn't be on the pitch. That was a red card.
The elbow.
Yes,
Well,
it
Yeah,
was.
look, he looks at him. He turns around, sees it, then puts his elbow. That's a red card.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and
You take
that
him
red
off the
card
pitch,
gets
Port Vale
shown
probably
in
got a better
the game, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a good result for Peter.
He does bits in this league, doesn't he? In Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Claxon for the ex-Rovers player. But yeah, the red card wasn't shown, and then he showed his ability and just his basically his striker's instinct, didn't he? On I think it was the second goal where he's just at the right place, right time. It was a delicious delivery, whip from the right hand side, and he's just got onto the end of it. And then tidy finish from Joe Ward to secure the 3 points. And Port Vale, another one of those that could potentially get dragged into a relegation battle.
Nah.
No.
Not for me, Dan. Not for me. The two bottom four. They'll stay up comfortably. Probably lower mid-table in my look.
So we'll have a quick look at the table. To be fair, yeah, Port Vale 12 points from 10. It's not bad return, is it? We'll start at the bottom. The bottom four that we said that we were worried about do make up the bottom four at the moment.
Look at the goal
Forest Green and
difference
Bristol Rovers.
already.
It's what?
Look at the goal difference for all three at the minute.
Yeah,
how are you going to claw that back?
Yeah, that's a couple of points in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah. 10-game mark in the league, that kind of is where the table starts to settle down a bit, isn't it? They're the three for me in the bottom, well, four for me in the bottom half, which surprised me. Charlton, Wickham, MK Dons and Oxford. MK Dons obviously rebuilding with Twine and Darling leaving, but I still thought they'd been mid-table to higher.
They brought in a lot of players, though. They have brought in a lot of players yet to gel. Like one of the things that we had yesterday on a Wednesday point, it looked like we're starting to gel, and like with the flicks and tricks, people were saying it looked like it's gelling a little bit quicker than it would have done. NK Don did have a massive rebuild last season.
Yeah. But moving on to the top half of the table, get the green army going. So that win today for Plymouth moved them up to top, with Ipswich dropping down to second, Portsmouth in third, Sheff Wednesday in fourth, Barnsley in fifth, and Bolton making up the playoffs in sixth. And
I'll say now the
earlier on that the 4 or 5 teams that are starting to find the feet and find the rhythm and pull away. Sheff Wednesday, Pompey, Ipswich, and Plymouth. Who was going to stop them?
Right. With the table, it's great and all for ATID and me. But the one thing I'd be worried about as a Plymouth fan, look at your goal difference to everyone else and you're top of the thing. And goals against. You need to get that sorted because you need to score more. Because you don't, you're not going to be up there. Personally, I don't know if anyone else thinks the same.
So I asked the question, who's going to stop these? ATID, Forest Green, knowing our luck. Yeah, but one of those where it's an absolute banker and then you just don't turn up for it. But yeah, honourable mention as well to, or a shout out to Cambridge doing superbly this season. And I think
the only ones.
Go on, Ian.
Hello.
Oh, I think Ian's gone. If he comes back, we will get him back in. But I think Cambridge doing so well is part of the reason why he's looking at the Cambridge manager for the vacancy at Rotherham United. Can see a bit of movement with Ian. Are you there, mate?
Probably. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Are you getting me okay?
Yes, yeah, you're back.
Great stuff. Yeah.
So, Cambridge in 7th. Probably one of the reasons why you've pinpointed their manager as a potential for the vacancy at Rotherham, yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's my preferred choice, but having said that, I'm not the chairman. Yeah,
Lizzie thought you'd gone as well. Ian, come
if
back.
anybody's going to threaten the, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. If anybody's going to threaten probably the top 4 or 5, it might be Ian Evans Bolton, because they've only lost twice all season and they're looking strong. So they've also got a game in hand over Barnsley Wednesday, Ipswich and Plymouth. So yeah, Bolton are doing well. They might even take up the mantle of the best team in League One this season for a change.
Maybe one day it'll come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But moving on to League
I'm
Two,
sure it will.
we've got Dane Sanchez. Evening, lads. Good evening, Dane. And ATID agrees with what Jake said. Letting too many easy goals away from home. We've conceded 1, and don't forget 5 of those goals came against us at Charlton. Dane asking if you take Darren Moore at Rotherham. I think some Wednesday fans are trying to force him over to you, I think.
No. Let me answer the question. No. No, I wouldn't.
Good. I'm happy with that answer.
I'm not going to qualify it. I'm not going to qualify it. I'm just saying no. No.
That makes me happy. Stay away from him. He's rubbish, you know. He's not that great.
Yeah.
So moving on to League Two with 36 minutes in, we'll touch on a few League Two games. There's a full fixture for League Two, but we will start with Donny 4, Crawley 1, and I think this was a vital win for Gary McSheffrey, more than Doncaster Rovers, in my personal opinion. 3 defeats on the bounce. It's put quite a bit of pressure onto Gary McSheffrey. A lot of people shouting for him to go. Rumours that meetings have happened with the hierarchy of the club, and potentially is on thin ice at the minute. So we had 3 games coming up: 1 against Crawley, Rochdale this weekend, and then Hartlepool Tuesday next week. So at the start of this week, they had 1 win between them. So you'd be thinking 7 or 9 points as a minimum 7 points, but ideally you want all 9. And we've started fairly well with a 4-1 victory. The first half, it was, for me, 2 teams lacking any sort of confidence. Few chances in the first half, but Joseph Oluwu got us in front on the 40th minute, and then pretty much immediately we just switch off and concede an equaliser 2 minutes later. And Gary McSheffrey didn't look too happy with that. Water bottle got booted, and very clear frustration that we'd switched off immediately after scoring. But then the second half, it was much better performance. I think we got the ball down, we played it around much better, and got the reward with 3 goals. I think 4-1 flattered us as a scoreline for the entire game, but we'd take it. Got to mention Kyle Hurst, a fantastic run from deep inside his own half, taking on 4 players and then slotting it under the keeper to round the win off. But we had this argument before we came live. Miller's on an hat-trick, is literally next to him with an open goal. I said on the vlog, you've got to be laying it over to him to get his hat-trick, but Ian disagreed with me. I don't think Jake had joined at that point. Have you seen the highlights, Jake?
I have seen the highlights. I kind of agree with you, but I also understand why as well at the same time.
And Ian, if you want to say why you disagree with why I think it should be squared so that he could get his hat-trick.
Oh, he'd done all the spade work. He'd made the run. He'd beaten the players. Why put it on a plate for a guy to get the glory? If he's got a chance of scoring, let him score. Yeah, and it was a great goal, by the way.
I do get it. I think if I couldn't have made that run. I'm not fit enough. But if I was, I'd have probably tried to score.
You tried in the charity game. It didn't end well.
No, it didn't. I'll not be playing that for another few years. Might get the boots back out at some point. We've got Darren Clark in the comments up the Rovers. Fantastic win. Let's keep it going. Top 3 not beyond us. Apart from Orient, it's a very open league. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think Orient would probably be the best place to go next, because
they are looking
for the table clash. Richie Wellens doing absolute bits at Orient, which is frustrating.
Annoying for you Donny fans.
Yeah, but is it because he's inherited a better team? He's not had to do that much recruitment there. He's obviously brought in George Moncur, I think it is. Is it Moncur? Yeah, George Moncur. But other than that, I can't really pinpoint anybody who is brought in.
I don't know. It's a weird. The part of me that just thinks he might be a little bit more trusted with the job. I don't think he was trusted with the whole job at Donny. I think they were expecting a lot from him, but not enough that they wanted from him, if that makes sense.
Possibly, yeah.
The thing is, he can speak a very good game on his day. On his day, he can speak a good game. He's very media savvy, which at the time Donny needed. Donny needed a media mouthpiece, somebody who's going to take all the barrels of it. At Late Orient, he's not having to do that because the team's doing it for him. He don't have to say anything. And if he does come out and say something, it's nothing like it's going to be a bad wording. At Late Orient, he knows League Two. He's very good at League Two, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And Barrow
didn't
look at the races. They had some chances, but nothing clear cut. Silly red as well.
Yeah.
But it's one of these situations when you see a manager that you let go early, because you did let him go quite early in the scheme of things. If you were going to actually back him, you should have gave him the entire season. Then if he went down and gone, right, not for you then, kind of thing. I think it's one of those ones, if you were going to sack him, you should have done it around that international break, which we've got now.
Yeah.
Then you would have been able
got to a point where it was too toxic at Donny, though.
Yeah.
I think his job became untenable because of certain things that it said. It exiled players. It was an absolute mess. So yeah. Hopefully, it continues to win until we face them in about 2 weeks' time. I think it is. It'd be nice for Rovers to inflict their first defeat of the season.
Where's that at, Dan? Is that your place?
It's at Donny.
Oh, that could be interesting reception.
Yeah.
If anything like the Darren Moore one they got, it'll be very interesting.
I think some of the fans will remember the player that he was for us, because he was absolutely superb as a player. Not so much as a manager, but yeah, fantastic 2-0 win. Barrow I think they had a 100% record at home before Saturday, so it just shows how good Leyton Orient currently are. I think the next place that we should go to, we saw in the chat earlier on somebody asking if we've gone to Swindon yet. We have now. So Grimsby Town 1, Swindon 2. Luke Jeffcott getting on the score sheet, 80 ideal like that. But Ian, do you want to take us through this one, mate?
Well, this is the game I should have attended, but I got COVID, so I couldn't go. Yeah. So, yeah. A close game. Could have gone either way. Grimsby probably a little bit unlucky not to get at least a point out of it, but Swindon are starting to motor a little bit. They took, like I said, Jeffcott took the lead, and then ex-Millers player Ryan Taylor equalised. Baxton, please. That's the one. And yeah, it could have gone either way. And Grimsby in the second half really poured forward and had boatloads of chances late on. But Swindon managed. Swindon managed to hold on, but to say they've come back into the Football League again, Grimsby, after one season away, I think Paul Hurst is doing a good job there. And they've started the season fairly well. And decent game for you. Decent competitive game for League Two. I didn't see the red card, so I can't really comment on that. Did you see it, Jake?
I think it was 2 yellows.
It was 2 yellows, I think, yeah.
Oh, was it 2 yellow? Oh, right, okay.
So
it was one specific incident,
Yeah.
So, yeah, good win for Swindon, that.
Yeah, and well deserved after holding on with being a man down for
apparently,
half an
hour. ATI just said it's an ex-Argyle player in Ryan Taylor as well. So.
There we go. Claxon is going to be worn out today. So in League One, we mentioned a couple of teams that we were worried for. I think we should do the same in League Two. Everywhere else you go, people focus on the top end of the table, and rightfully so. But I think the bottom of the table needs a little bit of focus too. And for me, two teams that I worry for at this level this season at the minute, Hartlepool and
Especially
Gillingham, just not
How the
scoring.
hell?
Yeah, just poor teams at the minute.
What? Why is it not working for him? Because it looked like he's the right man to take that job. Someone who could build it. I don't know if it's something behind the scenes that's not worked or he wanted too much. Like he was very, very quiet near the back end of last season, up until the final day, and he went, "The 13 players here that are not going to be here. You're going to be
He just
gone."
went to town on the team, didn't he?
Do you think he may have just gutted it too quick?
I think potentially, probably the words that he said after the final game of the season are probably still ringing in some of the players' ears that are still around the club. Maybe, I don't know, potentially players coming in as well, seeing that you get that mentality where you think there's pressure to perform, or if not, you're going to be called out in the public, which you don't really want. I mean, I disagreed with Gary McSheffrey calling George Miller out in the public and saying that he wasn't performing up to the standards that he expected. I think that should be done behind closed doors, to be honest. I think any sort of grief that a club gets from the mainstream media, I think the manager should take the brunt of that, even if it's not the manager's fault. And then behind closed doors, things should be dealt with kind of on an individual basis.
That Gillingham at this season's Oldham.
Yeah, could be.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I worry for Gillingham. Hartlepool, tough one to say. Obviously, Keith Curl joining them this week. Decent manager. I mean, if I saw him coming to Doncaster, I wouldn't be skipping. To be fair, but
good for what they need right now.
No.
Yeah.
But anything else is
Yeah.
So yeah, two teams there that I'm worried for. The other one. Well, there's maybe four. Colchester and Rochdale, slight concerns for them as well. Rochdale, we've got them on Saturday, so it'll be interesting to see how we perform against another team down towards the bottom end of the table. But Colchester, another team that have replaced their manager this week, and sorry, no, they've not replaced the manager. The manager's gone. They've not replaced him yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rochdale. This was a tale of two penalties, really, wasn't it? Rochdale slotting theirs away, and was it Sears?
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie Sears steps up towards the end and missed the pressure penalty, and it's put them in a little bit of bother, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting how many managers have gone during this international break. It's normally the period where they do normally go anyway.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But the timing of some of them have been right, but you look out there, there's not many managers that you're going to go for that are out of work who could go to certain clubs at the minute. Because I think there's a lot of managers that need to realise there isn't the money there that there was there 2 years ago.
No, there isn't, and it's not a great pool of managers, is it? There's not a lot of ability to pull from. So yeah, it's a tough time, but I think it's kind of the right time to change if things aren't working. It gives them time to build something with the squad that they've currently got, but also kind of see what gaps need filling in January. I think if you leave it a little bit too long, then you're asking a lot of managers to come in and assess his squad.
They realised that it wasn't right. And I think they made a big mistake by sacking the previous manager or letting him go, because he's just gone from Olympiacos. He's been in charge for 6 games and he's gone. So Steve Cooper would be lucky.
Yeah, that's a bit knee-jerk, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one job that I wouldn't want.
We can never get in. No.
Tough. Very tough job.
Probably right there.
Yeah. I think the last fixture that we'll go to in League Two is a fairly entertaining tie at Bradford. A couple of decent free kicks and a last-minute equaliser that will have felt like a winner.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this one, Ian?
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic free kick from Wimbledon, and boy, did they need that result. They needed a result there at Bradford because Johnny Jackson's team were tumbling down the table at a rate of knots. And Bradford away must have been a pretty daunting prospect. That they played very, very well. Probably unlucky not to come away with the 3 points, but I'm sure at the start of play, any Wimbledon fan would have taken a point at Valley Parade. Bradford, they're starting to do bits under Mark Hughes. They look very strong. I'm a little bit concerned about their away form a little bit, but I think they will definitely be top 7. They'll definitely be in or around automatic or the playoffs. Wimbledon, probably a season of consolidation. They'll probably be happy with mid stage. But yeah, the ending game for League Two. Yeah, good result for Wimbledon.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think Bradford will be up there pushing for a top 3 spot. Wimbledon probably a consolidation in the league and push on potentially next season.
Yeah, definitely.
So a quick look at the table before we finish this one off. Hartlepool, Rochdale making up the bottom 2. Before I move towards the top end of the table, quick question to both of you. Do you think it's about time that 3 went down, 3 came up?
Yes.
There we go. Ian?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
There we go.
Yes. 2 automatically and then a playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think bottom 2, like I say, bottom 2 automatic, and then the third one has the playoff. I think.
You know the interesting thing with this, though, don't you? If Crawley go down, how the hell does that work out with how they run?
God knows.
With them being a Bitcoin or whatever they are way of model, because you go down to non-league, people are not going to want to be faffing around with that.
No, I don't think many people want to faff about it in League Two, to be honest, mate. But it's showing, isn't it? I mean, I said in the preview, Crawley finished 12th last season with this influx of funds and kind of expectation that they were going to do well. Dom Telford coming League Two top scorer last season. It's just not quite worked out, has it? Or it isn't doing at the minute. ATID, I think he agrees with us as well. 3 up, 3 down. Yes. Moving towards the top end of the table, so the win for the Rovers has pulled us close to the playoffs once again. I think we'll be in or around it all season. We've got expectations, or people in the club are coming out and saying that promotion is the aim this season. So I think these next 3, the next 2 games in particular, we need 6 points from them to get us back in this mix, going into another tough period. But Leyton Orient cutting themselves adrift at the top end of the table with 28 points from 10 games. That is a fantastic return. Northampton and Stevenage doing well as well. But then you've got Barrow, Salford, Mansfield and Bradford making up the playoffs, but extremely tight at this stage of the season. 17 points to 23 points kind of separates 9th to 2nd. So I think it's going to be one of those seasons again.
You look at goals against and goal for. You've got a lot of good goal for, and you do defend okay at times, but you're just not. You're too inconsistent at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, you look at Barrow, 15-4, 11 against. I mean, Northampton, 21 goals already in 10 games. It's scary, absolute ridiculous, and that's the Sam Hoskins effect, I think.
By the way, Dan, just go back to the bottom. I'll be interested what the goals against for is at the bottom. Oh, Jesus.
Battered. So, there's a clear split in League Two at the minute between the top half and the bottom half. But I think it's going to remain fairly tight in and around this area until the last couple of games of the season. Lovely stuff. So that is that for another week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know, we've managed to look a little bit deeper into League One and League Two this week with the international break rather than the kind of quick fire across all 3 divisions. It is nice to have a bit of a dive down into both of the divisions. We will take a little bit of a closer look at the Championship in the next coming weeks and kind of have a look at who we worry for and who we think are going to do well. So we give the same coverage for every single division because we're not like Sky Sports. We like to give coverage to everybody, don't we?
Yeah. And maybe next week we'll be talking about Ian with a new manager. which will be
Yes.
weird because I think we're all so used to hearing the word Paul Warne and Rotherham. It feels weird to see Derby County, Paul Warne. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's not good.
It is.
ATID, before we
It's a
go,
bit
proper job,
strange.
lads. Still buzzing with today. Roll on the guaranteed loss at Wickham. See you next week. Hopefully, we will see you next week, as well as everybody else who's joined the stream this evening. As always, this will be on the channel for your viewing pleasure straight after this, so you can watch it whenever you want. Please pop comments in, and I will try to get back to them as soon as possible. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Over the Bar and Punk Chef 41. Their content is decent. If you haven't already subscribed to me, please do so. We're on the road to 3,000, so your support is greatly appreciated. But yeah, all that's left for me to say, if you enjoyed this stream, big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section below. Subscribe to everybody. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
See ya.